I
You
feel like
are
we need like
live.
a theme song or something. You could do a video at the beginning, they say, but I don't know like what that actually would.
I
What
don't know
would the
how to do
video
that.
be?
An intro would be cool, and we could
Yeah,
just like shoot the shit while it's playing. But I think some kind of intro would be nice eventually.
yeah. Well, I don't have the motivation to do that at this point.
Exactly. I don't care enough to figure it out.
That's right. I really don't.
That's how
Uh,
I feel.
yeah. Okay, so you brought this article, you pinged me in Slack with this article by my dear friend Justin. I was like, look at, I didn't realize who wrote the article. And I kept like Googling parts of it and I was like, who wrote this? This is interesting. This kind of sounds, I don't know, like a person I would know or something like that. And it's my friend, my friend Justin.
Justin. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I want to tell you about let me pull up the article or let me
Yeah.
share my screen because I want to actually just like put it on the screen for a second. Share
Yeah. I'm
screen.
curious, like what struck you about it and like kind of why we're talking about it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Justin's newsletter. I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna zoom in. Oh shit. I gotta zoom in this one. Like, first off, Justin's newsletter is like you know how I feel about newsletters, and I know you love newsletters, but this is short enough to like keep my attention. And it's like if you want to click into the, like the articles that he links in here,
Mm-hmm.
it's you can, but like you get the too long didn't read at the top. And like this
Yeah.
is all I needed to know in order to like read a little bit further about it. But like this is like the structure of this newsletter is what I need. I can't have
Yeah.
if I see like a big ass scrolling, like I have to scroll for a half hour to get to the bottom. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna start this because
Yeah.
it's
No,
too
I'm
much
the
of a
same. I
commitment.
skim. I'm a skimmer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I love this newsletter. You've kind of turned my feelings on this, and this dude is like saying all the stuff that's relevant to me right now, which is something that I don't like get
Uh,
from a lot of the things that I get auto subscribed to. Like
yeah.
this one is cool. So the one that struck me here is like what struck me about this is like um I've never thought of this. Not working hard doesn't lead to burnout, but the lack of hope leads to burnout. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you think that whatever you're doing is going to pay off, you don't seem to have it's like an endless well of motivation. You wake
Just
up early,
forever.
yeah,
Yep.
like it feels effortless because you're so convinced that what you're doing matters or it's going to pay off somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as soon as that changes and you no longer think like what you're doing, like it's immediate drop off.
Yeah.
And I have so many examples of that that I want to like talk through today. But like that's kind of the starting point for today's conversation, like what kills your motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And like this as an answer to that, I think really spoke to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I hadn't really. I've had sort of dips, and I'm generally very motivated on specific things, but it made me go like, okay, well, when am I not motivated? I have had a bout of like this year of just like just like off the cliff, no motivation for kind of anything work wise anyway, and like what happened there kind of thing. And I think it was, well, it was a combination of thinking something would work and then it didn't really, and then realizing like the thing I yeah, it's like the thing that I wanted to be working on wasn't gonna pay off. And so like what now sort of thing. What else am I supposed to do right now? So it's like you know, I have always been unmotivated for stuff that I didn't think was gonna work or didn't want to do. Like I'm not motivated to learn Spanish. I'm not motivated to do my taxes. And it shows in my life. But the things like learning bubble was like I was like riding on that for like 2 full years, at least three, maybe like day and night kind of thing, because it was like, oh, it's working and I'm enjoying it and I'm all the things, right? But as soon as like I did something that I was super motivated by and then it didn't work, that's when I fell off the cliff, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
yeah, it does. I think Bubble is a great example of like something I was motivated to continue with, like so much so that I changed my entire career path for that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's very unusual.
Yeah.
So how did I get from like, oh, this is just something that I'll try to, yeah, I'm gonna keep going with this all the time. And the thing in my head was like, now that I'm thinking back of it, was like, there's so much possibility here.
Mm.
There's money to be made. It's a skill set. It's a useful skill set.
Mm.
There's a community around this that believes in this thing, and like it got to a point where it's like, yeah, at first it was like, oh, I don't really see, I didn't see the value in it immediately, but I kept
Yeah.
coming back to it every time there was some kind of like tech problem to solve, or like something, a new project idea that I had. I kept coming back. So I think from like 2017 to when I found it to like 2019, I was still like back and forth, kind of like, just
Right.
playing with it. 2019 is when I got really, really serious about it. It's like, no, I'm learning this. I need to learn this. And again, it was like, I got burned in a few ways, but like I think the big thing that like kept me going back to learning something that's hard, it was like, there's so much possibility here. I can't, the sky's the limit.
Did it feel hard to you when you first started learning it? Bubble felt hard. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So here, I'll tell you my experience and why your experience is really, I don't know, kind of interesting or surprising in a way. When I found Bubble, I took to it quickly. It was hard, but it was also felt like pretty natural, right? But then I looked at the opportunity, and all I found was, oh my God, what was it called? I don't even know if it's still around. It's like a marketplace for like no code builders and clients and stuff. And all of the jobs were like $20 an hour, $15 an hour. And I was like, oh, there's not a market for this that's like viable for me. And I was like pretty, like, I don't know, bummed about that.
Mm.
But I loved it so much that I just was like, well, I'll just figure out how to make money doing this. Like, I didn't see the opportunity. I actually was like,
Wow.
yeah, isn't that interesting? I don't know where the opportunity was that I didn't see it. It's there. It's still there, but I just was like, didn't know where to look. I was new to sort of like, I don't know, the kind of transactional marketplace-y type of thing. I had always gotten clients from my network, so, and I always way undercharged for what I did. I learned, right? And so when I started with Bubble, I really thought, I'm going to have to carve my own path here in order to make a living doing this. So the motivation wasn't external. It was that, like, I just liked it so much. It was so
The
fun to
product, you
do.
mean? You like the
Yeah.
product. Wow.
Yeah.
See, like I could care less about the product. That is not what like I would never learn that for the sake of learning it. I would have to have something like, there's a reason to learn this. And
That's
that's like,
fascinating. I could have
yeah.
never taken a penny for it and just played with Bubble for the
No, I
rest of
can't
my life. Yeah.
it may not be monetary. I mean, in my case, it was for this thing, but like it's
Yeah.
also just like, this is a skill set that I'll be able to use in the future, was like enough for me to like that's enough. Like that's enough for me to
Mm.
like put some time. But if I didn't have a real, like, okay, so let me get into like the startup idea that I had and why I think I lost
Mhm.
motivation for that, irrespective of the development platform. So like the startup idea that I did, I was very motivated to work for myself. I think that was the big thing in
Mm.
my mind. We
Mhm.
talked about that last week. Autonomy,
Mhm.
blah blah blah, all the bullshit lies that you believe when you kind of go into something for the wrong reasons. And the thing that I thought was like the wrong thing that I had in my head was like, oh, I'm going to work for myself and I'm going to make a lot of money, be rich or whatever. And once I assumed, like the moment that I felt like this isn't the way to do this anymore, like or
Mm.
like the how do you say that well, first of all, that's why I started taking Bubble seriously, because of that. Let me back up. That's why I
Okay.
started taking development, Bubble, and more broadly just development in general, seriously. That was enough to motivate me. It's like, oh, I want to start this my project and I don't want to have to rely on freelancers to do that. So
Mhm.
that was what got me there. But then as soon as I realized, like I talked to like 15, 20, 30 people, and they were all like, we don't care about what you're doing. You know, like they wouldn't say that because they, you know, you weren't as direct as
You're talking about your product, the product you
my
were building.
product.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the thing that I was building to put in front of people, which was like it's like an HR compensation thing. The idea was like
Okay.
the 20 seconds of this was like, you may want salary, you may want health insurance, you may want retirement, like all of your benefits package, but you may like some people will want this and some people want this, and you can like adjust the compensation package as you like as you
Oh,
see
like
fit.
cap and
So
trade type of thing. Like trading. You're sort of trading. Like you're like you can have my retirement benefits and I get your equity or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
more like if I'm not interested in taking advantage of the retirement plan, I can put that back into my salary. So like a young person out of
I see.
college
Okay.
would be like, I need salary, I don't need retirement. And then
Yeah.
and someone who's like closer to the end of their career would see like, yeah, you can pay me less, but I need to like max out the
Yeah.
retirement for me. Like
Yeah.
a flexible compensation package.
Okay.
So that
Gotcha.
was the idea. And it could have been that I was talking to the wrong people and I didn't have
Sure.
the right, you know, thought of like, because it sounds good on paper, right? Like who wouldn't want that?
Right.
But the way that I like the market that I approached to that, everyone just like it fell flat. People didn't understand it. What I presented to them as far as a like the technology that would solve this problem, no one got it. And after around like 30 of those interviews, instead of saying like maybe I'm talking to the wrong people, or like the idea I have to position this idea differently, I just completely lost interest in the idea. Like it just like it was like it was I guess it was a little slow, like a slow burn. Like it started feeling harder to like get myself to do the work, and that probably happened slowly over time.
Yeah.
But as soon as I was there, I was like, I never want to look at this again. You know, it was so cut and dry, and like I think the reason for that is because I didn't see this thing as getting me what I wanted at the time, which was autonomy and money. And
Right.
like that, and then you if you want to take that a step further, like, well, were those the right reasons to build a product? You know, like is that is because as soon as those things become untrue, I'm moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And then I think
Exactly.
people like cycle through that, like some people will cycle through that process in like a day. It took me 6 months. It takes some people years to figure that out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I said a lot. Does any of that like resonate or make any sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think I had many things that kind of were like, oh yeah, that and that and that and that as you were talking, and now I
Sorry,
can't.
I
I
went too
don't have
long.
any
I
of
went too long. I'm sorry. I
no,
couldn't
no, no,
shut
no,
up.
no. I I was thinking about like things that I have sort of had really high motivation for that then sort of tanked at some point. Um, versus things that like I know that I like should do or could help me in some way that I have zero motivation for, right? This may or may not be like in line with what you were just talking about, but like um I think the through line for me is like I know I can do this thing. I'll be good at this, right? And so like in a situation where like it's so stupid learning a technical thing that I'm scared of. Like I am never going to do that until I have to do it. Till I have to teach it, till I like have to do it for something that I'm building. I am just not going to do it because like I don't like doing stuff that I'm bad at, you know? I just want to feel like I'm smart, I guess. You
Okay,
know?
understood. So give like what's an example of like something like an idea that you were like, oh yeah, I'm like all in on this thing, and like this is gonna be great. I'm gonna be great at this, and then you're like, after a month or two, you're like, nah, this isn't what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, the most recent example was the event that I planned, which like went well. The event went well, but it didn't like monetarily. It wasn't terrible monetarily, but
We're talking
it
about
was
find a dev.
a find a dev day. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The
find a dev day.
matching, like a speed dating matching thing for clients and Bumble developers, and it's like the feedback that I got was really positive. I felt like the day after the event, I was like I just want to like talk to everybody I saw about it. You know, I was so proud of it. And it was like genuinely fun. The whole process was really fun. And the thing that so that I was like, I know I could do this, but it wasn't sustainable for me. Like, it wasn't a sustainable thing. I can't do it on my own repeatedly. So I realized afterward, like, oh, that was a one off. And it took so much out of me, not like emotionally or whatever, but like I think I've talked about this on here before. Like, I didn't work for 5 or 6 months. I didn't do any client work. I just worked on that event, and it wasn't bringing in any money. Although I had sponsorships, I didn't like spend any of that money until after the event was over. I didn't use any of it, right? So I just was like not making any income all of that time. And so even though it was successful in like 9 out of 10 ways, the one way that would have made it a sustainable effort, like going forward, didn't work. And so
What was that?
the
What
money,
was the
like
thing?
financially, I couldn't do it again.
Okay,
Right.
okay. Well, what? Okay, let me ask. Well, what got you like thinking about like why did you do that? Why did you do that in the first place?
The event.
I Yeah, why did you start like
Yeah.
why did you think that you would want to do it again after the first one?
Yeah. I think it's because my, my career has always been focused, except for like a chunk of it, has always been focused on like helping other people find a career and like get the career they want. Right. When I worked at this opera company, I helped, I like planned the singer training program. Right. So I was like helping new career opera singers get like experience and build their resume and whatever, set up their accounting and all that kind of stuff. I ran the internship program there. Then I worked for, long time with teenagers trying to figure out like, what do they want to go to college? Do they want to do something else? It was like youth development stuff. That has always been like something that I've loved, that part of those jobs. And then when I started freelance design, I was so isolated. I didn't help anybody. I just like barely made a living. Right. And so when I got into Bubble, I was like, I'm going to build community. And I started leading stuff and realized I had been missing that part of my previous career, the like helping people figure out work life. Right. Not that I know everything, but I'm good at like facilitating like other people's learning, like planning events or like planning programs and things like that. And so I miss doing that. And so I wanted to do that. And, I kind of had an idea and approached Bubble about it, and they were into it, and approached a bunch of sponsors and they were into it. So like it felt like there's a gap in the Bubble world for career development and like professionalizing the work that we do. There's a gap there, and Bubble hasn't filled it, and no one else has filled it. And so I was like, oh, I could do this. Like, this is what this is what I'm good at, and I'm positioned well for it. And yeah, so that's why I did it.
Okay, I mean that makes total sense, and I think like the big thing that I heard there is like I like helping people figure out like where they're
Yeah.
where they're going to go and what they're going to learn.
Yeah.
So that's something that is like I will put all this effort in because
Mm-hmm.
I can see that this gets the goal. So or
Yeah.
this gets to that thing. But I
Yeah,
also
that
need
can come at that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like you could see the direct line of what you're working on to the outcome that you're expecting. But
Mm-hmm.
then like you also need to be able to monetize that whole thing, and that's a hard thing
Yeah.
to do, and I don't know how much runway you have to keep trying and keep going. So would you say that's the only reason that like you would not do that again? It wasn't like the like
Only
like
reason.
the process.
Only
The
reason.
only reason is
There was
is
one. Okay, I'll take that back. The most difficult part about it was recruiting founders, and so that part of my network I don't really have. My network is developers, and so it was a little bit scary for me to do like cold outreach. I didn't know how to automate that. It was that was really challenging for me. I think having done it now, I would be more confident and, just have like systems set up. Um,
But that wouldn't stop you from like doing it again,
no,
right?
no, I think I would figure that out. I think I would figure that out. Yeah.
Clementine
Uh,
says here,
Clementine. Hi, Clem.
do you think Find a Dev Day could become not just a one-time event, but a monthly annual subscription?
Yeah, I was working on that for a while. I was like converting the app from an event app to like a more of a marketplace. And um, I think I think there's the possibility for that. I just have kind of realized that over the past 4 years in this space, I've done like a lot of free stuff, and happily, like I would want to do, I love the work that I do. I would do it for free if I could, but like it has been like slowly eroding my runway. Like I had a pretty healthy financial situation, and just like these choices of kind of doing stuff over paid work, has not been great for me, And so, like, yes, I think so, Clem, and I would love that. I would love that. But also, here's another thing. One other thing that reason why I did that event is because I love planning events. I love events. I love planning parties. I worked in theater for a long time. And so I like that like moment where there's a payoff, where everyone like stands up and applauds for you, not necessarily for me, but like the experience of like, we did it. And then like, it's done. And you can just like kind of bask in it. You don't get that with software. Software is just like, always building new stuff. There's not an arrival point. You've never
There's
arrived.
no end to it. Yeah, there is
Yeah.
something satisfying about like, okay, we can relax now. We can like, we did the event. It's over. There's a
Yeah.
completion. There's a sense of completion. Whereas like
Yeah.
software, I don't think you really get that in software.
No. And so like this felt like kind of a melding of those two things. Well, the three things. I love building stuff. So I got to build that app. I built the shit out of that app. Right. I got to like do the sort of career development-y community stuff. And it was an event. It's like the perfect little, and it was helpful for people. So like it was perfect. And, I couldn't make it work practically.
Yeah,
So yeah,
understood.
bummer.
The that feels like a necessity though, rather than a lack of motivation. It's like you didn't have the fuel to keep going with it.
Yeah.
It's still interesting to see like what motivates you. I always find that very interesting because
Yeah.
like it never like ceases to amaze me when you tell me what motivates you. Like just whatever. And I feel like every time I say something, you're like, that's what got you there. And we're
I know.
always like astonished, like, wow, that's so not me. Which I think
Yeah.
what makes me interested to talk to you is like, yeah, that's not how I think about this at all. Which is hilarious for me.
Yeah.
What did I want to say there? The aside from like kind of stepping away from Find a Dev Day and the startup idea that I had, like something that I'm in right now that like is kind of killed, like it's slow. I can feel the motivation slowly eroding away, and I have to fix this because I still need to do it. Is like getting user interviews, getting more user interviews. We've had a few, but compared to the amount of outreach that we've done and effort that we put in, we're not seeing that payoff. And
Hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm sure there's an AI solution to this that I need to like explore. I've
Maybe.
actually looked at a few already, and there's
Okay.
always an AI solution at this point.
Yeah.
But the thing that's killing me, and I feel for like salespeople who are just doing like cold outreach all the
Yeah.
time. Like you send out 100 emails a day and you get one response or zero
Mm.
responses. What the hell is in your head that makes you do that the next day without
I
being like,
know.
I hate my life. How do you like what's in your head? Tell me so I can like learn
Well,
from you.
so here's an interesting thing. I did a ton of cold emailing for the event, and I actually enjoyed it, but only because I spent way too much time on it. I didn't send 100 a day. I sent like 10 a day. And that was because I was like looking at their business, and I was like crafting the email. I didn't write it fresh every time, but like I would look into what they were doing, and Hi, Ray. Um,
Ray, what up?
and and sort of like, I don't know, crafting this specific email for these people. And so I was learning about all these stars. It was interesting, it was really interesting. But that is not how cold email works. It's a volume game. I think. I mean, this is not. I don't really know that much about it, right? But this is my understanding: is you need to send 100 just to get like one response. Now, I got more responses that I sent 10 a day for, I don't know, 6 weeks or something like that, and I got responses. Not all of them joined, of course, right? But I can see how you like. I don't know. I mean, but like sending just like form emails, I don't know. You automate that and then you
Well,
respond to them, I guess, is the fun
my
part there.
thought, and maybe this is the wrong thought, was like, let me personalize what I'm sending this person. Let me not do the automation thing that everyone does. And
Yeah.
and this worked for me when I was trying to get clients for freelancing, because everyone just kind of fired off a generic, like,
Yeah.
response to a request for proposal that would come
Mm-hmm.
into that system. But I would like I wouldn't auto respond. I would like take a day, say like, hey, I saw this, and like show that I actually read them,
Yeah.
read what they entered. In my case now, I'm showing that I actually like did a little bit of research on this person, and the thought there is like, oh, this person took like 5 minutes to understand who I am and like spoke to me as a person. But it ain't working. Like, it was a good thought.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem to
Mm.
be working. So
Well, because there's got to
you
be
know
value in it for them too, right? Like, why? Like, if you cold email someone about a product that they need, there's something in it for them. I don't know. I mean, maybe there is something in it for them. I don't know. Getting like client interviews, that's like, I will do any interview Bubble emails me about. Anytime Bubble says, "Hey Kelly, can we talk to you about this thing?" Or like the form emails that they send out, right? Like, I am responding to that immediately, because to me, there's huge value in like me having some input in the product, because I care a lot about it, right? So if it's not that we're talking about cold emails, right? On this, but like, what's their what's their the payoff for them? What's their motivation to say yes, right?
Yeah, I've tried gift cards, but I
Mm,
see what you're saying. Like, you have a connection to the product, which is enough to
yeah,
get you to kind of like respond and get on, even if they don't pay you. It's like
yeah,
you feel that there's some like good outcome that could happen from you taking the time to talk to them.
yeah.
So
But
yeah,
I think
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
probably
yeah.
not the person they're looking to hear from. They're looking probably to hear from like beginners, I would guess. And so, like, my opinion, I think, weighs a little less.
I think that I'm trying to like, what do you do to stay motivated on something that is monotonous,
Yeah.
like, well, monotonous means it can mean boring, and like you have to do it every day. Like, what is it that you trick your brain into doing so it's not like, oh, this
I
isn't
can't.
such a slog?
No, I can't. Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you two things. Okay, one, I'm taking Spanish tutoring right now. I just had my lesson just before this, and the only way I will study is because I have a session with her, and I'm very motivated by like shame, and so that works. Um, I'm very good at money when I have shared expenses with someone else. Very good, right? But I'm very bad at it when it's just me. So like having someone, I'm good at like delivering client work on time for the most part. Because someone else is relying on me. But if it's something that I'm doing that I don't want to do, so that's one thing. Another thing, a little kind of funny story, I guess, is I was telling you last week that I lived in this apartment in New York with this older couple, and my rent was to clean the house, and I at the time hated cleaning, and I wasn't like great at it, and I was just whatever. But I was like, free apartment in New York, come on, I have to learn to like this, right? And so I would clean that house. It would take like 3.5 hours to clean the whole thing. It was a really big house. And I just told myself, like, oh my God, this is so fun. I love doing this. Like,
You just lied to yourself.
literally, I was like, I have to do this. And now I'm not joking. Like, I love cleaning. I would clean I would clean for my job. I love cleaning. I tricked
Okay.
myself into doing it.
So just saying to yourself, like, oh my God, this is my most favorite thing that I'm going to do today for something that you hate, like
Mhm.
tricked you into, wow. And you just say that
Yeah.
out loud in your head, or do you have to like tell somebody that?
Well, it was that, but also like look at the value of that. Like just look at the value of a free apartment in New York City, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
what I'm getting out
huge
of it.
value. There's huge value in that. So like, I mean, my learning Spanish is so hard for me. Like Ray knows, it's hard to learn English, right? It's like so hard to learn another language. And also, I live in Barcelona. It's pretty easy to get by without it. So there's not enough like
External pressure or
yeah, there's not
reason
enough
to like,
external pressure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a
But it's not,
long term like I want to integrate better into the country that I live in. I want to make local friends, you know. I want to be able to communicate. I want all those things, but those feel like they'll take so long to accomplish and I don't really believe I can do it, I think. And so it's really
interesting.
hard to stay motivated. Yeah.
So kind of back to the hope quote, right? Like the hope is so distant in the future, and like, will I really get there, or will something change where I'm not even living in Barcelona anymore? Like all those swirl around, and it's like
Yeah.
this is hard for me to study for my Spanish lesson. But like the thing that you did is like created that accountability person where it's like,
Exactly.
well, I'm gonna let this person down, and they're gonna feel like I'm wasting their time
Yeah.
if I don't like show that I made some progress this week. So
Yep.
like that's a way to do it. That's a way to do it.
Hmm.
Motivated by shame. Yes,
100%.
that is.
Yep.
I wish.
It's
I wish that.
also like that's why when I'm building, I'm like meticulous and like I do like super detail like because I know that someone else is going to see my work at some point. And so I don't want them to look at my work and go, what was Kelly doing? This is, like Kelly did it, right? So, oh
So
man,
Ray,
Ray,
every time
ah,
you wake up, you just listen to something. Ray, tell us more about how you do that. Like,
that's
is it
incredible.
like an audio thing that you do? You like watch TV in English, or like
No,
tell
I'm
us
going to,
like I
yeah,
want to
tell
know how
us
you
more,
do
Ray,
it.
because like I, I am in like when I wake up, I do all the bad things. I go right on Twitter, I get right in the news. I'm like doom and gloom all the way immediately. A podcast, man. Yeah, I have all the Spanish podcasts. I even pay for some of them that I have never listened to. There's slow news in Spanish, which is like kind of the best, and somehow I just can't, you know.
I can't. I think the only way I can learn another language is to like have to speak it. Like I have to
Yeah.
like I'll do a little bit of like I want to do like the next time I go to Poland, I want to do this with Polish. Like do some
Good luck.
Duolingo, learn.
Jeez.
I know it's the craziest freaking. It's so not a Latin language. It's hilarious. Like
Oh,
there's no overlap, and all the consonants are like right next to each other. So like
uh-huh.
there's nothing I can take from like Spanish or anything else to like
No.
translate that. But I think that. But even when I was there, not knowing anything,
Mhm.
I was starting to learn things because I was forced to
Really?
speak with all the people there that didn't speak English. The dude that I go with, his family,
Right.
they don't speak English, so I have to. And then like we found a way to like make fun of my friend, just the two of us. Like he went away and it was on the phone, and we're like, like talking shit about him because he was like not hanging out with us or whatever. And we found a way to communicate that. It was like a combination of like my broken Polish, his broken English, like a translator on your phone, and like
Yeah.
hand signals, and we kind of
Yeah.
like could understand what each other was saying. But in that, I learned like level is left, right,
Mhm.
bravo. You know what I mean? Like little
Mm.
little stuff. But like I had to like be in it. I wouldn't learn it
Yeah.
from listening to a podcast like you, Ray. I applaud you for being able to do
Man,
that. But I just won't pay
amazing.
attention. Like I can't learn from listening to things. That's crazy to me. I have to like do there and struggle and be like, oh, this is gonna be uncomfortable, but like it's gonna pay off eventually.
Yeah. It's
It's
not
not
easy, but
easy.
little by little. I was changing wake up and what TikTok wake up and listen to a podcast, and I got it. Man, it's just so impressive. I mean, I just wish.
Like I just
wish
could
I had
never do it this way. I could never
No.
do it that way, right? So,
Uh-uh.
and
I think. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I'm a person who like gets obsessed with things. And so I'll spend all my time on one thing and forget about everything else. And I could see myself getting obsessed with Spanish if I didn't have like other sort of like more important things to, client work and whatever. Like if I could retire tomorrow and I was just studying Spanish, I actually think I would get really into it, but I think like, I don't know, now it just feels like there's so many competing things. And, I speak English, and that is sort of the transactional language of the field that I'm in. Right. If there's not like a huge bubble market in Spain.
Mm.
I know of like 3 Spanish bubblers. Right. So it doesn't like benefit me in the ways that are sort of like present and
Short term, like short, like
yes. Yeah.
right in your face. Like I need to learn this tomorrow. I
Yeah.
need that too.
Yeah.
I
Same
was
thing with
thinking,
like learning technical stuff. I will learn it when I have to teach it. Like the technical stuff that's hard for me, I will learn it when I have to teach it.
yeah, not for me. It's not teaching so much. I don't really like. I'm not motivated by teaching. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It is kind of nice to see somebody like. I I don't know how I think about this. I don't like structured teaching, I guess, which is pretty on
Mm-hmm.
brand for me. But like to
Yeah.
see somebody like you're helping kind of like progress and grow and get
Yeah.
better at something like that is rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
I if I'm being honest with myself. I was thinking about. I'm trying to think of more examples, but I don't know. The
Mm.
um the thing that comes to mind is like freelancing. When I lost my motivation in freelancing, it was very similar to when I lost motivation in that startup idea that I had. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing with the startup is was more money oriented than it was autonomy
Yeah.
motivated, and then freelancing started as just necessity, but then it kind of turned into, oh, I can just do this forever and be completely autonomous working for myself. And again, like, why did that not work? Like, why did my motivation for that drop off? It's like
Mm.
like I said it last week. I was kind of like talking myself out of work, and I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? I don't.
Yeah.
Why am I talking myself out of the work that the client wants to give me? And the answer was that, like, yeah, the do it for you dev work. I think the thing was like freelancing equals autonomy. Freelancing is a way to get to an autonomous state in my life, but
Mm-hmm.
it really wasn't, because you're just bound by your client commitments now. So once I
Yeah.
realized that, like, oh, the autonomy that I was after, this is not the way to get that, my motivation just dropped, and I was
Yeah.
stuck in that not understanding that for too long, which is why I got like really down and couldn't figure out like a way out. But
Right.
once that clicked, everything changed. It's like, oh, there's other ways to achieve autonomy, and think about what you even mean by autonomy. First off, like
Right.
that's probably the
Right.
first question you should ask yourself.
Do you have like I feel like I have a real momentum thing where like once I get started on something and I'm in it, then I feel really motivated. It's often, not always, right? But it's the getting started. Like I spent 2 hours this morning with the website open for my homework for Spanish, just like get up, go get an apple, go pee, like, like do anything else. I would just come and sit down. And I'm like, no, I need to do this other thing. I mean, that's procrastination is what it is, right? But like once I started, I was like, this is fun. I'm learning numbers, But the starting, it's like starting is so hard.
Yeah, that I really, I mean, and that's like age old wisdom of like, if
Yeah.
you could just get past the first step, like do
Mm-hmm.
the smallest thing possible, and then see
Right.
where that goes. Like even
Yeah.
if, and I started doing that with reading, because I like to read and I know I should, but I like, if I say to myself I have to read a chapter every day, then you miss a day and like, oh, now I got to read 2 chapters, and like you're making up
Mm.
for the time that you messed up, and then it's like, well, I'm just not going to read for a whole week now because I don't want to have to read 12 chapters in one sitting.
Yeah.
You know, like that fucks you up if you think about it that way.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, I'm going to read one word today, what's the smallest thing that I can do? And tomorrow I'll read a paragraph, and the next day I'll read a page. You know, like
Mm,
it's a lot easier to get started if you don't feel like the freaking what you have to do today is so
it's
like
so insurmountable.
monumental.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
heard the thing about floss one tooth?
No.
Yeah, it's like a
Is that a
strategy
thing?
for, yeah, for like getting your oral health better is you just floss one tooth. Well, if you're already in there, you're going to floss the rest of them. But you just tell yourself, I just only have to floss. I don't have to do the whole mouth.
Yeah.
I just floss one.
Yeah.
And then you end up doing that has never worked for me. I'm never going to floss. Sorry. I wish I was. The dentist is always like, you gotta, girl, you're gonna lose all those teeth. And I'm like, okay, give me some big ones. I don't know. I can't do it. I
The shame
can't.
of the dentist is not enough to get you to floss. Like
Nope.
that's a shame,
Nope.
person. It's not.
Nope. Because nobody else flosses either. I know y'all don't floss. I know you
I
don't.
floss. I floss twice a
No,
day.
no,
Yes,
I
I
don't believe you
do.
don't.
Yes, I
Twice a
do.
day?
Twice a day. Once in the morning
God.
and one at
Oh,
night.
kill me. I mean, no, I can't. I brush my teeth, y'all. I like, I do. I have,
We're getting.
but no, I can't do it. I just hate it so much. I hate it. It's not because it hurts. I just think, what a fucking waste of time. I can't.
It's not waste of time. That's like your health.
Same with exercise. I'm not gonna do. I just see.
It
Okay,
just. It's.
Ray. I do the difficult things in the morning. What a saint! And I would just not do my get out of bed. I would just stay in bed all day because I'm never gonna do the hard thing in the morning. I'm gonna do the hard thing right before I go to bed because, and only because I promised someone else that I would get it to them before the morning. That is the only reason I'll do the hard thing.
It just occurred to me that Ray is watching this and is like, like English is the thing he's learning, and like we're one of his like thing. Like that's pretty
Oh, we're
cool,
helping
Ray.
you learn. Okay.
Yeah, well, like he just said, he's like, I can understand what you both said. It just made me realize, oh, like this is a podcast in English. Like this is part of his thing.
Yeah. True. How funny.
What was I gonna
Um,
say? I had another
uh,
thought about the tooth thing. That was funny. I can't remember what the hell I wanted to say now. Uh, but like, does that work for you? Okay, forget about flossing. But
yeah.
like the one little thing, like the floss one tooth mentality, is it enough to get you to do other stuff,
No,
or does that
no,
strategy just not work for you at all?
doesn't work. Doesn't work. I'm a sprinter. I'm gonna like go hard on some whatever it is and just like this is why I like courses, right? Because I can just like consume one the whole weekend and then I like did it and I'm done, right? I am not a methodical kind of person.
Okay.
No.
So this is where our thinking diverges. Is
Yeah.
like I love slow and steady things. I'm okay with like I don't care if I believe that this will pay off like long term and I don't hate doing this, it's enough for me. Like I like slow and steady everything. You know, like I don't like rushing. I don't like,
Oh man.
there's always urgency, like, there's always a sense of urgency that, that's just life. But
Mhm.
I hate when I feel like I have to rush and get things done by like, oh, we only have this much, like that's not motivating to me. I can do it, but it's like
Yeah.
that's not how I set things up. I set things up like I'm always thinking long term, like what's the long term version of what we're doing right now.
Mm.
And if I have to believe that that is like the end goal is going to happen, or else I'll just lose motivation overall. But like I can't sprint. Not that I can't, but
It's the
that's
only
like I
way.
feel like I make bad decisions when I sprint. When I'm sprinting, I'm
Uh,
making poor decisions. I make better decisions if I have time to like plan it out, be strategic,
mhm.
think through what I'm going to do and why. Like, and that doesn't do well like in a first responder situation. Like I've got like my girl, one of my close friends, they're all like very reactive to things, and they
Mm.
just like know exactly what to do in like a burning building. It's like no one told them. They just know. They just
And
know how to do that. And I'm like, I'll be dead immediately. Like I'll be dead. There's no way I'm figuring that out. Um, so like that like as I don't know. What am I trying to say here? Yeah, like sprinting. God, I don't know how you do it.
I mean, it works for me. I think that's the difference is like it doesn't work for you, so you have other strategies. It really works for me. And it's not even just like I crammed for a test. Like I was always the kid who did the homework. My dad worked nights and he would come home at like 2 a.m. and I would be doing my paper that I had not started until like 1 hour before that. And I got it done every time. And, like I got pretty good grades. I don't know. It just worked for me. I'm not saying I learned everything that I should have learned, but like I
But you
don't
gotta
know.
have that. You gotta have that fire. Like it's like,
Yeah,
no, I gotta do this like
I need a
now.
deadline, and I need like a. I also need there to be like a consequence if I don't do the thing. I'm not like disciplined on my own.
Okay.
That's not. Yeah, unless I like doing it, and that's it. Like I learned bubble on my own. There was no one was like, hey Kelly, learn bubble. Like I was just like, I fucking love it. I just loved it. So I can be real motivated then.
I think you're also like pretty motivated by the idea of learning, like for the sake of learning, not because it may pay off.
That's
You
true.
may just like learning is what I
Yeah.
gather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Okay.
I like having fun. And it's fun for me. So I think there's also, and this is something that I was thinking about when you sent me um, that article, was this sort of like having had a prior experience that paid off or didn't pay off, I think can really affect your motivation to do the thing. Right. So, like, I think I'm a little bit more inclined to learn like technical stuff that I'm scared of because now I've gotten really comfortable with this technical thing that I was scared of, and I'm like, oh, I can do that thing now. Right. Before that, I don't know if I ever told you this. I had like a partnership. I built Rote, which was like my first bubble app, and it was this grant writing thing for nonprofits. And I had this partnership with this guy Sadale and his company, which was in the grant space. And he was like, okay, we want to do this promotion and kind of push people toward the product and everything. And I was like, okay, but I haven't set up like Stripe yet. And he was like, just set up a whatever. And he had worked with Stripe's API before, and had not. And I swear to God, I was like, okay, all right, so I'll do it. I spent 2 weeks night and day working on it, and it never worked. It just never worked. I did eventually get it working, but I think I had to hire someone to like consult. It might have been you even that like we sat and looked at it. I can't remember. And so that experience was so excruciating that I failed at it, and it took so much time, and I felt stupid the whole time, that between then and the next time I tried to integrate Stripe was like probably a year and a half or something like that. I mean, I just was like, nope, I am bad at that, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think your
like the
prior.
yeah.
Sorry.
No. We're gonna. Sorry. Go ahead.
That was awkward. No, I just was saying like your prior experience, I think, can influence like how motivated you can be when you fail at something, anything in life. I think then it makes you either excited to do that thing again or really scared. It's like my friend Stephanie. She always hated roller coasters. She's terrified of roller coasters. And then her wife was like, "That's very stupid. You will love this," and forced her to go on a bunch of roller coasters. And now she's like so into roller coasters, right? So it's like now she's excited to do the thing that she was scared of before. And I think, that can create a motivation to, go to Disney every few months like they do and go on a bunch
Are
of
they
roller
the
coasters.
Disney people?
They're the Disney people, yeah.
The Disney adults?
Yep.
All right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Angel, I mean Ray, that was thanks for hanging out with us, man.
I
Uh
know. That was
I'm
fun.
glad I'm glad we're your choice for your morning English podcast. It's pretty cool.
I have one question for you about this before we wrap things up, is about do you have a sense of how AI is affecting people's motivation? Is that something that's kind of happened for you in your work life or your life?
I think that I think the way that I feel about it is like I'm not taking advantage enough of it. Like I should
Mm,
be doing trying to find an AI solution to all the things that I hate doing. And
Mm,
I'm like trying to train myself to do that. It's like there's probably a solution to this out there somewhere. And if I
mm,
just ask AI, like, tell me what solves this problem, there's going to be like 3 solutions. So I'm trying
mm.
to like get myself into a regular rhythm of that. Does it make me uh I don't think that it makes me any like less like lazier. It just like
Mhm.
all the things that I don't want to do, I can have AI do that. That's the way that I think about it.
Interesting. So I've had this sort of two-sided experience with AI recently. I feel much more motivated to learn the technical stuff because I have this like tutor who doesn't judge me and is actually really good at helping me learn
Yep.
things, right? So I feel like I'm doing that type of stuff like every day now, and it's fun, and I am like learning a lot, right? So there's that side. I also had this really interesting experience. I'm teaching Immerse for Bubble right now, and their first assignment was I did this data modeling little mini course just to introduce them to how data structure works in Bubble and how to think about it. And so their assignment was to sort of make a list of all of their data structure, right? Their data types and their option sets and fields and all that kind of stuff, right? Just a list. Didn't need to be like ERD mapping or anything like that, right? And there's 12 founders in the cohort, and 10 of them, their assignment was clearly done by ChatGPT. Like it was like very obvious, right? And I was so surprised by it because that had not happened before in any time I'd taught Immerse. This is an AI based cohort, like they're building stuff with AI, so it does make sense. It just didn't occur to me. But I, that part of what I think was happening is they were going, "Oh, this is a new mental concept for me, and I find it whatever tedious, or I don't know, I don't see the value in it or whatever, and so I'm just gonna like offload that task to AI." Makes sense, right? And I had them redo it because you really need to understand data modeling at this point anyway. You still need to know that stuff in order to build in Bubble, and I think build anything really. Um, and it has been a really it's they've struggled with like doing that, not
You
struggled
mean
with
like the
they've struggled with the
students?
work, but they've struggled to like I think to get motivated to work on it with like any like real attention, if that makes sense.
uh, Okay, I see what you're saying there. And I think that that's like I think that that is happening in some, but it's usually happening for me for the things that I didn't really want to do in the first place. Like
Yeah.
if it takes more than 3 prompts about like for me to like figure something out using AI, and then I give up after that, it's like, well, I was really willing to put in nothing into
Yeah.
this, you know? So like, but so I think it makes you I'm trying to read between the lines of what you're saying, and
Hmm.
I think that what if it starts off that you're going in for a reason, the wrong reason to anything that you do, AI is not going. AI may help you lose interest faster.
Oh,
Like
that's
you'll
interesting.
you'll figure out that you're not really that into this because if you're not going to go any deeper than just like an English prompt in
Yeah.
understanding what how your building works, then like
Yeah.
how into you are you really of this? Like there has to be a
Yeah.
level of effort that you're willing to put in for some payoff in the
Well,
future. Like if you're not,
yeah. I think though, like, I mean, I think it's partly just the marketing of no code and AI that like this should be easy. Like just type
this is
in a prompt
easy.
and it'll be easy, right? It's all that stuff, right? So I think I don't I didn't blame them at all for doing it. Was smart to do that, even though like they didn't have this sort of underlying knowledge of why it was important, even though like a huge part of the course was me just going like, this is really important. You really need to know this. It's the foundation of everything, la 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 la. And I think they were like, yeah, let's get to the like part where I build my thing. You know,
Yeah.
they didn't have this sort of like they didn't know me uh well enough to know where I was like really serious about that. or like they didn't know what the program was going to be. They didn't know how important this assignment was, all that kind of stuff. Right. So I think that it was, yeah, I don't know. I think,
What do you think it does for like like I think you're speaking from like a very like learning environment now, like a
yeah.
teacher and something. So like, do you think that it well, I know you're describing the experience, but like more broadly, do you think that it's like it makes it too easy for someone to just be lazy and kind of float through? Or like how do you see it affecting like coursework? You know, like when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
trying to
It,
lead somebody through a course.
it makes it easy for people to think they can be lazy, right? To think that,
Okay.
like, so here's what's happened in over the course of, now it's been 3 weeks. Immersive's been going on 3 weeks. That first, it's such a condensed timeline, this program, that if one week kind of fails, if one lesson just sort of like doesn't work and nobody gets it, it just throws off the rest of the program. They're behind, and they were behind immediately.
Mm.
And I should have anticipated, like, this is not about any of them. Like, I should have anticipated and said, hey, don't use AI for this. You actually need to learn this thing without the use of AI. And I think they would have all done it. They're very motivated people and very, like smart people. So it was like, I was the problem there. But I do think that there's just a general kind of like, it was the first, because I don't work with people a lot. I'm like a solo person. So like I use AI as much as I think I should use AI or want to or whatever. And I don't have the sort of like people around me using it in a way that I don't see as the right way to do it. Right. If that makes sense. And so this was the first time that I was like, oh, is this how everyone's working now? Is everyone just going like, I don't want to do this thing, so I'll just let
Yeah.
ChatGPT do it? And even it was just a really fascinating experience that I had to just like shift my thinking and just go like, oh, okay, if I'm going to work with other people or teach them, I need to like understand what would motivate them to try to do it a way that I don't think is going to be useful for them, right?
Yeah. Almost like kind of like when to use AI and when not to. You know, like
Yeah.
use AI up until this point, but this is the concept you got to
Mm-hmm.
dig a little bit on to like grasp, and then you'll
Yeah.
be able to use the AI more effectively if you understand
Yeah.
this, right? Like I imagine that's a hard thing to
Right.
do as a teacher. It's like, where do you, that's a very fine line.
Yeah. It's well, it's a little bit tricky, but then like last night I taught them APIs, right? And they're all incorporating some LLM into their app. And so what occurred to me is like, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong about this. I was like, you can use AI to help you set up your API call and train your LLM and how to, work with all these N8N or whatever. You can use that and then be done with that task. And then if it needs to be refined, you can go back and get it done again with your AI coach, right? With data modeling, you're constantly having to make small tweaks to your app, and you need to understand all of it in order to make one small tweak, because one small tweak can just like break everything, right? So that is actually a thing that you really need to understand. An API call, I think, is more just sort of like compact and discrete of a thing. So I am like, go freaking use AI to set up these API calls. Like, ask it what endpoints to use and ask it which LLM is going to be the best for their use case. Like, offload that shit, right?
Whereas your data model is foundational and has the
Foundational.
potential,
Yeah.
yeah, to create performance issues, create privacy issues, all of the
Scaling
things,
issues, everything.
right,
Yeah.
is built on a solid data model.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so not understand, I think the point here is like not understanding how your data is structured and just outsourcing that to an agent is going to lead to problems
Right
probably
away.
pretty soon, actually. Like you could think
Immediately.
down the line about it. Yeah, probably pretty fast. Like you're not
Yeah.
going to understand why this doesn't work,
Yeah.
and able to build on it because your data model wasn't set up correctly in the
Yeah.
first place. Okay, I mean, that sounds right to me. I'm so out of the like teaching space now. But I mean, I would always tell people to not build on templates, like
Sure.
like you know, like it's kind of it's if you don't understand how that page is built, you're not going to be able to adjust it.
Same
And if
thing.
someone
Yeah.
else did that work, you know, like another person did that work. In your case, it's just like the AI agent's doing that work now. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing with vibe coding and all of that. If you don't know how it works, then like you can't make changes to it, or you can't troubleshoot or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Understood.
interesting. Yeah.
Last comments here from Ray. I was thinking if I have
AI.
AI, well, I keep loading
Uh,
it. I can translate. I don't know
I think that
electricity.
all
I
the
can't
time,
keep
Ray. All the time. Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Uh,
And yeah.
uh, ChatGPT also helps me practice, and I use it for basic
Mm-hmm.
things. Yeah, I do this. So I love ChatGPT for trading. I asked it all of like I started like trading stocks and options and stuff, and like I asked ChatGPT all of those questions, like so I didn't have to answer it. In the same way that you're thinking about like oh, you know, there's no one to judge these stupid questions, and like
Mm-hmm.
you can only ask a real person so many questions before they're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to ignore Kelly now.
No.
Where
It's great
and
for learning a language. Great.
it's great for learning anything, I
Yeah.
think. It's like
Yeah.
I can ask all the questions that I want. And even with coding, like coding things, like tell me how this works, break this
Mm-hmm.
down, break down the syntax for me. You know, like
Yeah.
it's made that so much faster.
Well,
Um,
and that's key. That's a really key thing, is that you can use AI to execute some tasks for you. Sure. I guess I don't like doing that. But I think it's way more useful to learn how to do the task that you don't know how to do. To, like, explain this API documentation for me. What is an endpoint? What does that mean? What is curl?
yeah.
You know, like learning all those sort of like, it just explains everything to you. And that would take days to like scour the internet to get, okay, different definitions of all that, and which one is right and which one it actually makes sense, is not too technical or whatever. Like that, I think, is the value of it, is that it can help you learn. I don't know, maybe that's sort of like old school of me, that you still need to learn these things. Maybe you don't need to learn these things. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like you can't outsource your thing. This actually makes a good topic. We were thinking about talking about like the why of AI and
Mm,
when it is like the right time to use it and what the things that we shouldn't be outsourcing. Like I don't hear a lot of conversations about that. I always hear like what's
mm,
possible in AI and
right.
how far like this new thing that's coming out and what you can do with it and what it automates for you.
Hmm.
And like
Hmm.
I'm kind of asking myself, do I really want that to be automated? Do I need an AI agent for that? And I imagine that everyone feels differently about all of the things that like, you know, like they want completely automated out of their life. And some people will be like, no, I kind of enjoy that thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't need like
Or it
not
doesn't
AI, but
happen enough. You know, I don't need to do that thing enough to offload it to
yeah.
AI or some automation or something. Also, like every time I set up an automation, it breaks. It just breaks. And so like I don't think I'm good at setting those things up. Anyway, yeah. We should talk about that next time or sometime.
Let's talk about
I gotta
that.
go. We're 3 minutes after. I got shit to do. It was fun hanging
Okay.
out with you and you, Ray. And Clem,
Later,
hi.
right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
guys.